I'm here today with Kevin Whalen. We're so excited. ArganoInterRel has been selected to present a variety of topics at the upcoming Kscope Festival. And so we decided we wanted to get to know a little bit more about our geniuses, our gurus, our presenters who were selected. So we're gonna dive right in with Kevin Whalen, who was chosen to speak about getting lucky with your corporate strategy. And it's going to be a lot about the Monte Carlo simulation, I'm told, which sounds exciting. If you were here for the talk with Edward, you know that he loves poker, so he's probably on this one somewhere, even though Monte Carlo is different. So Kevin, what's your favorite way to spend a day off? Or should I say, do you get days off? Because
yeah, I've been trying to work out this work-life balance, and now without the travel as much, have a little bit more time on the weekends, which is nice. If I get a chance, I'd like to get out onto the golf course and get myself frustrated and angry at a little white ball. And I live here in Phoenix, Arizona, so it's sunny most of the time. And lately I've been going paddleboarding a little bit. There's a little canyon lake up there, and that's been kind of fun to cool off.
Oh, you're in the part of Arizona that has water. That's nice.
Well, it's about an hour away, but.
What's the best vacation you ever took and why?
You know, lately I've been really enjoying just chilling in Hawaii. It's just an easy for here. It's a direct flight and it's just easy to get to. It's relaxing, but I've had some, you know, more exotic and exciting vacations. Like we did Chianti in Italy, and we did wine tasting and you know, food and all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, lately I just like the relaxing part. It's been kind of nice.
It is. It shocked my family the first time that I planned a vacation like that. They were like, what are we gonna do? We're gonna chill at the lake, you guys. That's it. So speaking of fun things to do though, what's the next place on your travel bucket list?
Well, I guess kind of spoiler alert, since this thing is going to have Monte Carlo simulations in it, and I've never been to Monte Carlo. It sounds like a fun place I'd have to go check out. I think that would be an interesting tie-in to this whole thing, and an awesome place to go visit.
Honestly, it should come as a work trip, shouldn't it?
Oh, I'll have to ask Edward. Maybe he'll let me incented.
So do you like to watch a lot of TV? And if so, what's the last thing you binge watched? Or if you're Glenn watched regularly?
We've been kind of going through the Better Call Saul right now. You know, the latest episodes have been coming out. And so, you know, binge watch the Breaking Bad and then into the Better Call Saul. So, you know, that kind of stuff, and Ozark and whatever Netflix throws at me lately. But.
Are you one of the people who uses the like just play something option for Netflix?
No, I overanalyze everything. So
I guess it makes sense that you overanalyze things. Surprised you don't have like a chart, a bell curve of what you.
A spreadsheet and
yeah, at least a spreadsheet. So are you also into podcasts at all, or music? Are you more of a podcast music kind of guy?
Just music. You know, kind of listening to whatever playlists and that kind of stuff. Sometimes on the golf course, I've been getting exposed to yacht rock lately. That really wasn't my genre, but now we've now gone to the Yachtly Crew concert a couple times. So I don't know if that's I don't know, I could say it's my favorite genre of music, but it's been starting to grow on me a little bit.
I feel like once you go to a concert though, you really don't get to be like, they're making me listen to it, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
You're a fan now. Sorry. That's fine though. So I see you're drinking coffee. How do you take your coffee?
I do with a little bit of sugar and a little bit of cream. I've been doing a French press, but now I've got some buddies that are really into it, and he's trying to convince me to buy a 500-pound coffee grinder and then get it shipped in from London, and then a couple grand on an espresso machine. I am not ready to pull the trigger on that stuff yet, but I'm just in the beginning of my coffee journey, we'll say, with French press. So
Well, you're the first person on the webcast series so far who actually drinks coffee.
Yeah, so maybe on the rest of the series, they get more people that are interested in coffee. I did hear, yeah, that Edward and Glenn don't do the coffee, so.
No coffee. Maybe that's their secret.
Maybe.
So with you living in Arizona, I'm curious, do you like camping? And if so, are you more of like a beach camping person or a mountain forest?
Yeah, not so much into the camping. I guess, you know, after being a consultant for a while, it's hard to go like below like a I don't know, courtyard level Marriott. So I don't know if you know, so much of the outdoors, but out of the beach or the mountain, they'll take the beach because I have a mountain right in my front yard. We go hiking all the time.
You're like, well, I do that every day. So
Right.
That makes sense. I feel like I probably should have picked a better question to ask all of our technical consultants. Because so far camping in general just doesn't seem big.
Yes. I see that Cease is asking about the Old Bay cup. The wife is from Baltimore, so she got me the cup or whatever. And I like Old Bay seasoning and blue crab.
That's nice.
Probably should have had my scorpion cup, I guess. But part of the Arizona theme.
Next time. So is that what you would eat if you could only eat one thing for the rest of your life?
No, I'd probably take it from Joey Tribbiani on Friends and do sandwiches because there's so many. I love sandwiches and there's so many options of sandwiches. So
you can say sandwiches and have a different sandwich like every day for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
A nice loophole there.
Yep.
So how many Kscope conferences have you attended? I'm interested to know if you'll be our first that wasn't at the very, very first one.
I was not at the very, very first one. I've gone to 4 of them. This will be my 5th. And then I did the one virtual last year. So
the virtual ones count. We've litigated that. So that counts as 5.
Okay. So this will be my 6th.
Yeah. Have you spoken at all of them or?
Yeah.
Dang. So you just walked in and were like, I'm in charge. Nice.
I actually was part of the planning committee this year, so I did recuse myself of looking at my own abstract. So
you're like, oh, who's this guy?
I would have given thumbs down for me.
No. Speaking of Kscope, though, we're wondering who all is planning on attending and already registered for Kscope, and what other Oracle community events you might be attending. So we've got a poll up here real quick, and it looks like most of us are going to Kscope. If you're planning on going to Kscope and you're not registered yet, don't forget we've got the link in our chat to register, and you can use the discount code ArganoInterRel at checkout to save $100. We've got new answers coming in. I think you guys can pick more than one, but it's looking like only Kscope. We've got some Kscope loyalists here, not even Cloud World. That's cool though. We like Kscope. We'll give this a few more seconds. But speaking of Kscope, we're going to move on to talking about Werewolf. So are you a big fan of playing Werewolf, Kevin?
I'll play. Yeah, I'm not one of that veto it, not one of the ones that'll instigate it and start it, but if there's a group going, I'll definitely join. If anybody asks, I'm a tasty villager. I'm not a werewolf.
Tasty villager. I'll remember that the next time we play as a company. Eat Kevin first. It looks like we've got some respondents going to Blueprint 4D and Cloud World as well. That's super exciting. Argano will have a presence. All of these, and we're so excited to see you guys, but mostly excited for Kscope. Don't tell anyone. Thanks for ending the poll. And so Kevin, do you prefer to be the villager most of the time then?
I never get picked as werewolf, so just remember that for all the future games. So
sure. Yeah.
Wink.
Wink. I'm always a villager.
Very
So
tasty
aside,
villager.
always. So aside from werewolf, what's your favorite part about Kscope?
You know, it's awesome just seeing everybody, you know, in this industry, you know, you work on a project with people and then you don't see them again for a while. And then just kind of, you know, you start seeing the core group of people. And, you know, I was with a firm before InterRel, which was not as good, I have to say, of course, but just to see people from there and just people in the industry and stuff like that. So getting everybody together, it's just kind of a way to share, you know, everything. It's an awesome experience.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are especially looking forward to that this year after being virtual for so long.
Mm-hmm.
So what first interested you in your topic for this year's Kscope?
I guess, you know, coming out, getting an MBA, I was all like into strategy and how strategy and finance are going to intertwine. Started my professional career after that in the finance departments, and kind of seeing how people see these numbers, but they're not really necessarily using it for strategy, and really kind of wanted to leverage those two pieces together. So strategy and finance and strategic finance kind of thing was born. Started using the Hyperion Strategic Finance product as a user, and then went into consulting, and then started implementing it and kind of watching it all grow. So really been like that strategy and finance kind of piece together.
Yeah, and it's always good to hear a story of someone moving from a user of the product to an implementer, because you've got such a different perspective on things and how the functionality really has to be at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So how much experience would you say that you have in this? How long would you say you've been thinking about strategy and finance, we'll say?
Wow, you're gonna make me feel old.
So you don't want to date yourself.
We could say over 15 years. How about that?
Over 15
15
years.
plus, yes.
That's probably
Yeah, getting closer to 20, but whatever.
getting older.
I started when I was 2. No.
They start younger and younger, man. So what are you hoping that people really take out of this presentation if they attend at Kscope, when they attend at Kscope?
I want them to see how this product is kind of evolved, and now how there's some cool things you can do, and how to really start driving your business, not necessarily just here's a number for my budget. It's like, let's start thinking about the future and trying to get maybe a little away, even though it's numbers based, get away from the numbers, but getting into the decisions that we're going to make and why we should make these decisions. And particularly after the last few years, I mean, so much has been going on. It's about strategy and being flexible. So I hope people kind of understand that this product can be used for that, you know, modeling scenarios and all that good stuff.
Yeah, numbers are great, but you really have to have the context and understand them pretty well in order for them to be useful. So can we get a sneak peek of your Kscope presentation?
I think so.
Maybe.
All right, is that coming up?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Us picture. I'm going to be talking basically just a high level for my abstract, showcase the long range planning capabilities of scenario modeling and how to use this tool to reduce risks in the uncertain times. I'm going to discuss how to build models and consolidations, and I'll kind of show you as I go through here. I was going to give an introduction to what strategic modeling is, people that aren't aware of it. Now that it comes in the EPM cloud packages, it's something that people already own. I may not realize they own it. So, you know, I'll encourage them to start using it. Kind of particularly talk a little bit about how, like, the last few years, we really want to have more of a focus on timeliness, about how strategy versus tactical versus the other pieces in planning are a lot more tactical. This is more high level and strategic. Just kind of going through again about how strategy is more about the number that you come up with, because like I'm looking out in 5 years, that number is going to be useless and it's never going to be the right number. But if I can know to make a decision based on the next thing that happens, that's going to be where you really want the planning, the part of the planning, not necessarily just what the number comes out to be. I was going to talk a little bit about how I've seen the product being used, about how I come into companies and I'll see how their long-range planning processes go, basically using the FP&A and treasury departments, and how people kind of forget about the cash flow statement. This is something nice that this cash flow comes through. The saying revenue is vanity, profit is vanity, and cash is king. So people focus too much on the revenue or the profit, but they don't really necessarily see the cash involved. So that's always sometimes an afterthought because it's in between FP&A and treasury. So just kind of showing how this kind of product can fit into your corporate teams, about how the regional and the corporate teams can all kind of do targets, drivers, and again, how this whole thing could fit into driving strategy. I'll get into a little bit about maybe the architecture, where strategic modeling might fit in with data flow, where it's going to get data in and out, and how people are going to consume it. I'm going to talk about how it's in Smart View, because one of the things people love, finance people love Excel, and that's probably the biggest competitor to this. And I'm going to try to see if I can start convincing people to start using something a little bit more powerful than Excel, but I can layer it on in Excel, which is nice. You load this into Smart View, and I've got another tab here, and I got strategic modeling at my fingertips without ever having to leave Excel. So again, it's going to be a little bit of trying to convince people that there's other opportunities. I'll go into some details about how I'm going to integrate. There are different ways that you can integrate. Also, lately, I've become a big fan of Groovy. It's been introduced into as a programming language, introduced into this, and it's been Groovy. It's really powerful. It used to be the only way to integrate with strategic modeling, but now they have the data maps. Also kind of show something I'm using as a layered Groovy onto a data map, which is kind of a fun little way that can get people moving data back and forth between their like budget and then their long range plans, or their forecast and long range plans, and updating things. I'll get into the heart of what strategic modeling is, how the models, how you open up a model and now you have a framework that's built with income statement, balance sheet, and cash flows that are completely integrated. This is nice. There's some clients that basically just use this for the cash flow statement functions, but also try to get people excited about what else you can do with the product. But it's nice even just as that is something that's going to create cash flows. Everything's integrated. You make a change in revenue, it flows through net income, goes into retained earnings, it makes adjustments on the cash flow statement all at one spot. So it's just a really nice forecasting thing. I'll discuss about how to take those models and turn them into a consolidation. This way I can start rolling up my company, even if we have like joint ventures and different pieces, and then how they're using this to create business cases with different scenarios, which is nice. I'll get into a little bit of the details of the counts, just so people who are not familiar with the product at all can kind of take a look at it and see how you can come in and you could forecast like what's the growth rates, the pieces that are like, straight out of the box. I don't have to do anything. I can, put growth rate and get up and running in just a little bit of time, and then start spending time tweaking it and getting it how I'd like to do it customized towards my company. The power of the audit trail, something that's always been nice too, is just being able to go back and be able to, what's it called? See where the numbers come from. Having come from experience, I know people come up a lot. Like, why is this number here? Where did this number come from? And so this transparency of the audit trail makes it really easy for me to drive back and make sure that we feel good about the numbers that we're going to be presenting. Because a lot of times this product isn't used that widely because it's strategy level. It may be 4 or 5 people going to be putting together board decks for the board of directors or for the executive management, CEO, CFO, those kind of people. So it's going to just be a higher level piece of that. Also going to really talk about the scenario manager, which is a nice thing that they're really kind of pushing. They've kind of changed the name from Hyperion Strategic Finance to Strategic Finance to Scenario Management. All sorts of different things. I don't know, Oracle changes the name a little bit, but scenario modeling, I think they've called it too. But the key on this is, particularly with the last few years, you want to be able to see, like, nobody was going to be able to predict what COVID was going to do or what the war on Ukraine is going to do to your oil prices, that kind of stuff. But having those ideas and different scenarios and being able to model a scenario really quickly, now I can kind of see what's the next course of action and how is that going to impact the company. So kind of focus on how the scenarios and how they roll up. And then I'm going to nerd out a little bit with the Monte Carlo simulations. This is one of the newer add-ins. They've took the old crystal ball and they've kind of integrated it into the scenario modeling. I was going to go into a little bit of history on how the Monte Carlo simulations started with the Manhattan Project, Stanislaw Ulam, and how he kind of couldn't model out how solitaire worked. And so he started building as, what if I just take this new thing called a computer, this ENIAC, and we just force it and we just say, run it 100 times. Can we get a better idea of how solitaire is going to come out? Then I'll show you how to set up simulations, about how you're going to take your assumptions, how you're going to apply different statistical methods to it, and then just basically see what happens after a certain amount of trials. And then we can start getting like a certainty of achieving. I'll show you how to analyze the results, kind of things that how much our best case, our worst case, what do we kind of see it might happen based on certain statistical inputs, and basically make it so it's a little bit more. I don't just give you a number, but I'm going to give you like a feel for like where that it may end up. And these would be, because of the way that strategic modeling works, these could be big questions that are like, what does it look like if should we pay our dividends? Do we pay down debt? Do we do these kind of things, like, very big corporate decisions, and to get those inputs all in an easy way that it can make quick decisions, I think is the most important part. And that's, again, back to like kind of what excited me about the product. I could nerd out on a little bit on how the assumptions, how you can choose different assumptions that you're going to want to do for your inputs, and then kind of see how the outputs after it runs, like here's an example of 500 trials, and there's a chance of me hitting my net income at 940 million at 63% or whatever. But it's a different way to look at numbers as opposed to just coming up with, here's the forecast, and in 2 years we expect this number, because we already know that number is going to be wrong, but we want to see like a confidence interval and kind of like what could happen based on what we know, and what levers do we have in this company, what kind of decisions can management make that's going to be different. So again, kind of going through, showing the different results. I have some tips and tricks just over the years, trying to get through strategic modeling. I've seen kind of good implementations and not so good implementations, things that I've seen that lead to the most success. So I'm going to kind of go through some of that. I have slides on that. And that's about it. I'm probably going to talk too fast like I do now, and then have a lot of extra time. Kind of my East Coast upbringing, but yeah, so that's a little bit of it in a nutshell.
Well, that sounds exciting, and I'm sure people are excited to look into the more practical aspects. I was confused because you started talking about modeling, and I thought you were talking about Legos, so this is kind of disappointing at first, but then, that sounds really cool. And I know that as far as we talk about strategy and numbers and things like that, we're moving more towards looking at a range of numbers instead of a specific number in a forecast. And so tools like this really are so important for our businesses to implement, and to implement well. So it's really great to have someone who's excited and ready to nerd out about that.
And we've a lot of people already own this, and it's just, it used to be, when it was Hyperion Strategic Finance, it was a pretty pricey separate set of software. You needed a different server because it would run on Windows if you're running everything else on Linux, and you had to do, a lot more hoops through it. And now you just need to enable it in your cloud because it's all part of that cloud package. So, just makes more exciting. And I've been getting a lot more interest, been seeing a lot more. I'm working on projects right now based on that, because just it's there now, and people are starting to see it a little bit more and want to do more with their numbers than just having, a long range forecast.
Yeah, and if you've got it, you should probably use it. It's a great tool, and I'm super excited to learn more about it at Kscope. Just a reminder, if you have any questions about modeling, why it's not Legos, things like that, you're more than welcome to pop those into the question and answer box. While we're waiting on those, though, I do want to remind you that if you're interested in attending Edward Roski's vendor session, which is EPM is my love language, no one's going to be surprised to hear that from Edward. But it's about why having EPM on your resume is the ticket to success. You can attend that, of course, at Kscope, but if you want a free t-shirt, which we got a sneak peek of, and it's super rad, or groovy. It's super groovy. That's a better word.
Yeah.
But the link to register for a t-shirt is in the chat, and we're super excited to see you guys there. We're not getting any questions, it looks like, because Kevin explained things too well. But you gotta leave
Got a
us
quiet group here today, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that everyone will let this marinate and soak in, and then have a lot of questions at Kscope, hopefully. So if you come up with questions later, feel free to send them to us, or just go to Kscope and ask Kevin. Don't give him any warning. Just
ambush me. Yes.
Yes, ambushing 100%. No, but it's been lovely to get to know you today, Kevin. And I too love analytics and getting some data out there. So I'm excited to see what that presentation looks like. We'll see you guys next week with Terrence, which we're super excited about. And his sessions will be about financial close, I'm told. So Terrence Walker next week, same time, same place, same me, not Kevin.
Yes. Terrence will be better dressed than I am, I'll tell you that. I mean, I have my old Kscope shirt on, but Terrence is always better dressed in every situation.
It's his style. He's got style.
When he travels, he has like a whole, 10 suitcases and stuff, and he always has just dressed to the nines. So he's,
You gotta do what you gotta do.
yeah.
Appreciate that. So come next week for the fashion, or for the financial clothes information, or for the financial clothes information.
I see what you did there.
Either way, I hope to see you next week, and have a nice rest of the day. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.